Hey guys, I'm Bobby Lane, Bassmaster Elite Series Pro. I'm with Bass U TV today, and I'm going to give you the rundown on a straight-tailed worm versus a curly-tailed worm. Cold front, calm and sunny. 2 days after the front when it's miserable. Windy, spring, fall, summer. When we're dealt with all these different weather conditions, how anglers like myself, other pros, consistently catch fish, because you know what? I have to. That's the way I make my living, and I feel fortunate to be sitting here today to be able to give you the tips and techniques about a straight-tailed worm and a curly-tailed worm that I've learned over the last 20, 25 years of my bass fishing career. And I keep it simple. 7 foot, medium heavy, fast, billin, Abu Garcia billin rod. 7 foot, medium heavy, Abu Garcia billin 2.0. You know, Abu Garcia's got a ton of great rods out there. Veracity, Veritas, Villain. The future is bright. The rods are amazing, and if you start to look through them, you'll see which ones fit your best for fishing. But for worm fishing, this is my favorite. I pair this up with a Revo Premier, and I like to keep it fast. This is a 7:9 to 1, so I got a fast gear ratio here. And that doesn't mean that I'm reeling fast, but when those fish bite sometimes and they're swimming at you and you got to catch up to them, you have the speed to do that. This has 20 pounds of drag, which long cast, hard hook set, your line's not going to slip. 2 different kinds of lines that I like to use. I like to keep my drag pretty tight. I like to crank this thing down. When I hit that fish, if it feels big and he's going to start moving, I can just simply push my button. I like to thumb my fish. If I get a good one and he comes to the boat and he's running under, I like to just thumb him and let him play, take the line off my thumb so I can feel that, and then I can quickly turn the handle to catch back up. Now let's get into the worms themselves. We're going to talk about 2 today. One is going to be the Kingtail, which the reason they call this the Kingtail is it's got a nice big thumper tail on it. The nice thing I like about the Kingtail is it's ribbed all the way through here, so it's going to give you that extra action. This tail is going to make a lot of action in the water, whether you're swimming it or crawling it up off the bottom. You can see the action, that tail. That's why it's called the Kingtail. And the other one, my go-to 1-2 punch is yeah, this is mine right here, guys. This is the shaky snake. As you can see, has no tail. Really not a lot of action. It is ribbed at the bottom, but it just has a real small tail on it. So when this thing's coming through the water, there's no action. It's just kind of laying there and not doing a whole lot. And I want you to remember that. Not doing a whole lot sometimes is the importance of this bait. The importance of the Kingtail is doing a lot. So remember that. This one does a lot. This one doesn't do a lot. That's not talking about size of fish or fish catches. Just talking about action of baits. So let's start with the Kingtail. Of course, this color here is Junebug. It's one of my favorite. You can't really go wrong with Junebug anywhere. So here's my hook. It's not real thin, but it's not real thick. This is right in between. You don't want a big flipping hook when you're throwing a worm, or you don't want something so light wire that when you do hang a decent fish, it's going to bend on you at all. This is my hook of choice. This big nasty worm, the 4/0, 5/0, 3/0, depending on the size of the worm you're throwing. Of course, today we're rigging the Kingtail, and I'm going to tie a simple knot. Just remember when you tie this polymer knot with the fluorocarbon, that you have it moist. So I'm simply sliding my line through. I'm making a simple overhand knot. We're going to get that nice and moist, pull our knot down onto the top of the hook, and then what you want to do is make sure when you pull this tag end that the loop is pulling very smoothly and it's not biting the line at all. And if that's done properly, that line will, that knot will never ever break on you. Okay, this thing has a lot of action to it. It's coming through the water, it's thumping. It's the time of the year when the fish are feeding. You know what worm I want? The Kingtail. Let's face the scenario of something that doesn't want a lot of action. When is that?